So I'm here this evening to share some more information about our program, the courses and pathways we offer, how it relates to local industry here in Wake County, North Carolina, and I think even on a national level, and share more information about upcoming classes coming this fall, registration information, and things of that nature. Via, is everything looking good on screen for the presentation?
Yeah, it looks fine. And just to let everyone know, my name is Via Bell Beaver, and I am the career navigator for advanced manufacturing and skilled trades. And so I'm the person who assists you if you have problems in class or are trying to figure out what to do or something like that. And I'm going to be running the chat for Grayson. So if you have questions as we go through the um, presentation, if you could please put them in the chat, or if you're not comfortable using the chat, you can just save them for the end and we'll have a question and answer session at the end. But Grayson will be taking breaks throughout the presentation to answer your questions, and I'll be providing those to him. So please don't interrupt the presentation by turning your microphone on and talking while he's talking. Just put your question or comment in the chat and I'll make sure he gets it. Also, I noticed that someone had put a comment in the chat in Spanish. Unfortunately, I do not speak Spanish, so if you could please put your comments in the chat in English, I would really appreciate it. That would just make it so much easier for us. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you very much, Via. So here we have our agenda for the evening. Via just introduced herself. Again, my name is Grayson Halstead. I'm the instructional supervisor. In a nutshell, my role is to supervise our full-time and part-time faculty, as well as to represent the department at events such as this, open house, industry meetings, and things of that nature. And I also do a lot of behind-the-scenes tasks such as prepare new programs for approval and get them implemented. I help manage our lab space and do a bunch of behind the scenes administrative tasks as well. I've been at Wake Tech since January 2016. I started off as the technical assistant and office assistant for the Nurse Aid and Allied Health program over at the Perry Health Sciences campus, and I've been part of this department since January of 2022. So with introductions out of the way, here you can see the rest of what we're going to be covering this evening. We're going to start off by going over what is Industry 4.0 and how it relates to our program and modern manufacturing. We're going to look at our program history, kind of where we came from and how we're adapting that to go in a new direction starting this fall. I have some photos of our facilities to show you some of our hands-on equipment and trainers we have in our lab. And then I'll provide a quick overview of our pathways and some of our class details as far as how classes are structured, when they will become available, what they will cover, and things of that nature. And then we'll wrap that up with some next steps about registration, course costs, and some other career services and things like that that are available through the college. And Via, if any questions come up, feel free to just jump in at any time and I'll be happy to answer them along the way.
Sure.
Okay, so we are the Advanced Manufacturing and Robotics program, and we provide short-term targeted training in advanced manufacturing and robotics to help prepare students for entry-level employment in advanced manufacturing facilities that follow or align with Industry 4.0. So I think before we get into some class details, it would be helpful to understand what Industry 4.0 is. Essentially, Industry 4.0 is a term coined to reference the fourth industrial revolution, which we are currently in the middle of. So, a little bit of background: the first industrial revolution started in the 1760s in England and went through the 1840s and 1850s. And that was characterized by a move away from hand production and the incorporation of machines, chemicals into production methods and manufacturing, the increased use of iron and the refining of iron into steel and incorporating that into more modern machines, and the incorporation of water and steam power. So again, instead of using hand power or animal labor, it was the incorporation of water, steam, and other power sources. The second industrial revolution started in the 1870s and lasted through 1914, so essentially the start of World War One. And that is marked by increased scientific discoveries, standardization of manufacturing processes, and the introduction of mass production techniques. So I think a really good case study example is Henry Ford and the modern production line. That was a huge leap forward in standardization, repeatability, and modern production techniques, and we still see that used across the industry today. Then there was a third industrial revolution, also known as the digital revolution. This took place in the late 1900s, so 1980s, 1990s, and it is defined by the shift to computers to share and document information, the incorporation of IT systems to network computers and machines together, and then through the 1990s and the 2000s, the introduction of the internet to convey information, transfer documents, increase production tolerances and standards and productivity and things of that nature. And all of that leads us to the fourth industrial revolution, also known as Industry 4.0, which is where we are today. This started in the early 2000s and it's continuing on to this day. And that is really displayed in the incorporation of automated connected manufacturing processes and equipment. So things like completely automated manufacturing lines, the introduction of robotics into the manufacturing workspace, additive manufacturing or 3D printing, the use of artificial intelligence for predictive modeling and manufacturing decision making and things like that. All of those being incorporated into modern production facilities is what defines Industry 4.0. And that is also the defining feature of the classes and pathways we provide is they all align with modern Industry 4.0 initiatives. So, some additional context of local manufacturing organizations here in Wake County, North Carolina, and even on a national and global level that employ Industry 4.0 techniques and processes. Here in Wake County, there's a lot of giant pharmaceutical companies. Eli Lilly, they have facilities here and in Concord, just outside of Charlotte. Fujifilm Diosynth Biotechnologies. So Fujifilm acquired Diosynth Biotechnologies in the early 2000s, if I remember correctly. And they are currently in the middle of building a new vaccine manufacturing facility in Holly Springs, so about 30 minutes away from our campus. And that is a $2 billion investment into that one facility here in Wake County. There's also Seqirus. They do flu vaccine manufacturing. Kellanova, what was formerly known as the Kellogg Company, so food and cereal. Pepsi Bottling Ventures, they have a local plant here in Gardner where they actually manufacture sodas and seltzer waters and things of that nature. And then on the more kind of traditional manufacturing side, companies like Flowserve, they do pumps and valves and other infrastructure for the nuclear power industry. There's PCX. They do industrial electrical boards and electrical panels to bring power into buildings and distribute them to equipment. There's Siemens. They're an international technology and medical industry company. Again, they're global and they have locations here in Cary, Wake County, and throughout the country. And then even companies like Fessler Bowman, they're a national commercial construction company. They've done some manufacturing and construction here in Wake County, like for libraries, municipal buildings, and things like that. So I think that's a pretty good representation of some of the smaller organizations, comparatively speaking, like Flowserve and PCX, all the way up through multinational or global, multi-billion dollar companies like Eli Lilly, Fujifilm, and Siemens. All of these companies use advanced manufacturing techniques, technologies, equipment, and all aligned with Industry 4.0. So with that in mind, I'd like to take some time to focus more specifically on our program and provide a little bit of background about it. So we're located at the Beltline Education Center, just north of downtown Raleigh. And on our campus, we have a whole bunch of classrooms, but most of our classes are held in our dedicated lab space. So we have one big lab separated into two components, and it was finished in late 2019, early 2020. It was originally built for the Amazon Mechatronics and WakeWorks apprenticeship programs. The Amazon Mechatronics program ran its course. We taught all the people and Amazon employees that they needed us to. So we are now taking a lot of the courses, curricula, data, technology, and equipment that we use for Amazon, and we're going to be opening all of that up to the public for open enrollment with classes beginning this fall. We're going to have classes starting in August. And then we still have the skilled trades apprenticeship side, which actually the photo on the left is directly from that lab, where we teach hands-on apprenticeship and skilled trade and vocational courses in HVAC, plumbing and pipe fitting, carpentry, electrical, and things of that nature. So all of that to say, all of our courses in our program have a heavy focus on hands-on experiential learning, and we're currently working to expand our audience and scope and basically reach out to as many people in the Raleigh and Wake County area as we can to grow our classes and offer it to as many people as possible. So I'd also like to take some time now to kind of virtually, so to speak, walk you through our lab facilities. I'm going to just quickly go over the skilled trades area. So again, that's carpentry, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and we have plumbing and pipe fitting facilities as well. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going over that because we actually have a separate information session for that this evening at 6 o'clock. So if you or anyone you know is interested, they can join that. But all of the equipment on that side of the lab, especially the HVAC equipment, is all functional, and it represents a mix of small scale industrial or commercial equipment as well as residential. But what I'd really like to spend more time on is the advanced manufacturing side of the lab. So we use almost exclusively Amatrol trainers. Amatrol is a company that custom makes training equipment for STEM facilities and training locations and colleges such as ourselves. And we have dedicated training facilities for electrical circuits, pneumatics, hydraulics, mechanical drive systems, PLCs, and robotics. And speaking of robotics, that is the photo you see on screen now. So we have, if I remember correctly, 11 robots total. The ones you see in yellow are FANUC. The green one is also FANUC, but that one is specifically a collaborative robot. So that one is meant to work in conjunction with a human being nearby, whereas the yellow ones are designed to work independently. And then off screen, just because it's too big of a space to get in one photo, we have a cross robot, which is meant to be easily transportable and set up for temporary jobs in new facilities. And then we also have a small dual arm ABB collaborative robot as well. So that is the photo you see is, it shows a pretty good amount of floor space, but that's actually only about a quarter of our lab. What you'll see for the rest of these photos is everything is kind of compartmentalized based on topic for our lab, and everything you see in blue is provided by Amatrol, and we custom spec these trainers to represent the best approach to teaching all the topics included in our program. So on the left, those carts you see with toolboxes on the bottom, those are actually mechanical drive trainers. So mechanical drives are electric motors that turn gears and sprockets that are connected to either chains or belts to move conveyor belts or move other pieces of equipment and machinery in manufacturing facilities. So in our mechanical drives lab, we teach things about how to properly set up electric motors and connect them to different drive systems, how to maintain pulley, belt, and chain alignment, how to do troubleshooting, variable frequency drives, so that controls how fast or how slowly the motor spins, and how to incorporate different bearings and maintenance and troubleshooting techniques into mechanical drive systems. And you can see on the right on that photo, there's workbenches for doing bearing replacements, troubleshooting, and basic maintenance. The photo on the right is our low voltage electrical lab. So you only see 2 trainers in the photo, but there are actually 5 spread out through the space. And each of the black squares on that trainer is a removable component, like a light bulb, a capacitor, a resistor, a button switch, a knife switch, something along those lines that represent all the different types of switches and controls for basic electrical circuits. It's a low voltage system, and we use it primarily to introduce people into electrical systems. So once we've covered electrical theory, we typically move them into the low voltage lab to introduce them to different types of circuits and also do troubleshooting in a low voltage, higher safety environment. Some of our other spaces that are electrical, they have higher voltage systems, which we'll get into in a minute, but they have separate safety facilities and different approaches to those, but we'll get to those in just a minute. Next up, the photo on the left is our PLC lab. So PLCs are programmable logic controllers. Those are essentially small computers that are dedicated to controlling larger manufacturing machines. There's a couple different manufacturers of PLCs used across the globe, such as Allen Bradley and Siemens, and we use Allen Bradley primarily in our facilities. So each trainer has PLCs. Those are the little gray boxes you see on the vertical panel in the center of each trainer. And then there's touch screens on the right to control PLCs and do some basic troubleshooting functions, since those are representative of the control screens seen in manufacturing facilities. And then each one also has a laptop attached to it, so we can start doing some programming, network, and custom work with PLCs to have them do customized tasks. Because part of our PLC technician pathway does include custom programming and networking to custom program PLCs and network them together and network them to other machines to make an automation system. On the right is our pneumatics lab. So again, there's 5 trainers. You'll see that as a common theme throughout our lab. And each of those 5 trainers has Siemens PLCs attached to them, a laptop to control the PLCs and program them and introduce faults into the system. And then each one has a compressed air line going to it to actuate the actuators, valves, suction devices, and basically anything you would see that is pneumatically powered in a manufacturing facility is on a small scale on each board with actual power and electricity going to it. Our pneumatics trainers are also very unique in that we can custom introduce up to 42 or 44 different faults in trainers. So we can randomly inject faults and problems into the system to help students learn how to troubleshoot and repair equipment and get it functional again. The photo on the left of this screen is our hydraulic lab. Conceptually, it's very, very similar to our pneumatics lab because from a physics standpoint, hydraulics and pneumatics are almost the same. It's just a matter of density. Obviously, hydraulic systems are liquids. They're much more dense than air in pneumatic systems, but they're very similar, so they function in a very similar way. But again, we have dedicated customizable trainers in that facility. And then on the right is one of the 5 trainers we have for high voltage manufacturing motor controls or industrial motors. So the motor is the cylindrical gold unit on the right with the yellow cord coming out of it. And then that panel represents different ways to control a industrial motor. Our industrial motors are the high voltage side of our lab, so they go up to 280 volts. And that's why you can see there's kind of a gray box up on the left with a multimeter attached. That is the power switch and power control going to the board in the motor, and it has lockout tagout provisions. Lockout tagout is an industry standardized method for cutting power to a high voltage electrical system and guaranteeing that it is locked out so no power can go to it, and documenting who has worked on it to increase technician safety. So we do include lockout tagout on a lot of our courses, and safety, especially for the electrical side, is woven into all of our courses. Okay, so with all that in mind, I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about the different pathways and courses we are going to offer as part of our program. You can see the pathways on the right, but they're all characterized by, they have varying lengths depending on how many courses are in each pathway, the amount of content that's covered, and the specific credentials assigned to each course and pathway. Starting in August, those are when our first classes are going to begin. We're going to offer a variety of different schedules, including morning, afternoon, and evening classes to help meet students' schedule needs. And wherever possible, all of our classes will include some sort of industry recognized credential. The majority of them are going to be through SACA, that's the Smart Automation Certification Alliance. They do industry recognized credentials in things like electrical systems, pneumatics, hydraulics, mechanical drives, and PLCs. So that is what the majority of our classes are going to be oriented towards. And we are also a SACA certified assessment center. What that means is for every class that we are orienting towards a SOCA certification, that specific certification will be included in the class itself. It will be included in the cost of the class. So if you take it with us, you will not have to pay for the certification separate from the class, and you will not have to go take the certification exam somewhere other than the class after it ends. It's all included in the class itself. Our robotics courses are going to be oriented towards FANUC certifications because not only does FANUC make industrial robots and some of the most common industrial robots on a global level, they also include certification credentials and requirements, and they certify directly through FANUC. So a lot of our robotics classes are going to be oriented towards FANUC certifications. We're also going to do a manufacturing technician pathway, which will be oriented towards Tooling U and SME. Again, that's another industry recognized credentialing organization that focuses towards manufacturing. They do some 3D printing, maintenance, and things like that. On the right-hand column, we have the majority of our most common pathways that we anticipate offering. So automation technologist, that's going to be a fairly comprehensive pathway for automation and advanced manufacturing. It will include 7 classes, if I remember correctly, with everything from electric circuits and motor controls through troubleshooting, mechanical drives, pneumatics, hydraulics, PLCs, and it's going to be, our most comprehensive and longest program. We're also going to have foundations of automation. That's a 4-course pathway that covers a lot of the same information as automation technologist. It just cuts out some of the supplemental classes to streamline it a little bit. We're also going to do a PLC technician course or pathway actually. So that will include introduction to PLCs and PLC troubleshooting. That will be a 132 contact hour course, meaning it's 132 hours of instruction. And it will also include a programming and networking course. So that's again teaching students how to program PLCs and network them together with other automation systems. And then we're also going to have a mechatronics technician pathway, as well as dedicated pathways for robotics, which includes a programming and networking course, so similar to PLCs, since PLCs are what controls robotics. And then collaborative robotics technician levels 1, 2, and 3. And there's 3 levels of collaborative robotics because it's a pretty in-depth topic. It's going to cover everything from what are industrial robots, how are they used, how to maintain them, how to program them, how to set them up, how to repair them, how to troubleshoot them, install them. It's going to be a very comprehensive pathway, hence the 4 courses in it. And then we're also going to do a manufacturing technician course or pathway, and we're also going to have additive manufacturing, so 3D printing, and we are also going to develop a soldering and circuit board course or pathway. In additive manufacturing and soldering are probably going to get off the ground in spring of 2026. We're starting to allocate some resources and get curriculum developed for those, so those will be coming very shortly. But everything else, so automation technologist, foundations of automation, PLC, and robotics, those are going to begin in fall of this year, so in just a couple months. And we actually have the first couple courses open for registration. There is a fundamentals of electric circuits and motor control course open for registration, as well as an electrical troubleshooting and schematics. And our introduction to PLCs and PLC networking course is PLC troubleshooting course is going to begin this fall as well, and that should be open for registration early next week.
Before you go any further, Grayson, Maribel has actually hopped on to help with Spanish speaking chat.
Sure.
So I'm gonna we don't have any chat for English speaking. Maribel, do you have anything for Spanish speaking before we go forward that you need Grayson to answer? Okay, no, she's good. So we're good. So you can keep on rolling.
Sure, happy to. So let's also take a little bit of time to go over some of the intended audiences and some additional class details. So all of our classes are oriented to the widest audience possible, and basically they're for anyone looking to gain skills for entry-level employment in advanced manufacturing and production facilities, or people already, in the middle of their career or working for a similar industry, but they would like to either reskill or upskill and get credentials for a promotion or more targeted specific roles at their organization. We're also looking to target recent high school graduates, so recent seniors or people that are going to be graduating soon. And the prerequisites for our program are students either need to have a high school diploma or GED or equivalent, and just have high school level math and STEM proficiency. So we designed all of our curricula and all of our courses to meet those prerequisites, and basically anything that requires more than a high school level education or proficiency, we will teach all of that in the course. So they're all geared to be very introductory and quickly skill people up to prepare them for employment. Pretty much all of our classes are going to be held at the Beltline Education Center. So again, that's just north of downtown Raleigh. Our address is 3200 Bush Street, right near Wegmans at Midtown East and behind the Duke Raleigh Hospital. And on average, kind of as a rule of thumb, each individual class is going to cost about $400. For example, I think the Fundamentals of Electric Circuits and Motor Controls class came out to be $352, if I remember correctly. But please keep in mind there could be a little bit of fluctuation from class to class as far as the cost is concerned, because different classes require different numbers of textbooks or different levels of consumables or PPE. So that price may change a little bit, but we're anticipating about $350 to $400 per class. And where applicable, again, that cost of the class itself does include the professional certification through SACA or similar, as long as we can offer it within the course itself. Additionally, the cost of all of our classes is designed to be as all-inclusive as we could possibly make it. So the registration fee is going to include the cost of the class itself, the textbook, the access to the digital LMS, because SACA, Tooling U, SME, Amatrol, they all have digital learning management systems. So the cost of the class will include the student access to those for the duration of the class itself. And we will also include all of the equipment and consumables needed for the class, like any fuses or small electrical components, all of the hand tools that are needed for the course, as well as all PPE or personal protective equipment like eyeglasses, any hearing protection, protective gloves, things of that nature are all included in the cost of the class itself. So essentially, all students need to do is show up with a notebook or a laptop or something of that nature to take notes on, and we provide everything else. And all classes will also include access to Blackboard, where we will include things like quizzes, different assignments, and supplementary material for the course. That'll all be in Blackboard, and it's all included in the cost of the class as well. So just to recap, as far as what's next and what's coming up with the program, we're having classes start in the fall of 2025. And again, the electrical and PLC classes are open for registration. We refer to them as open enrollment. That means they are open to the public. So anybody that wants to take the course that has that high school level education is welcome to take the class. And again, we're going to offer a variety of morning, afternoon, and evening class formats to help provide as much options to students as we possibly can. And to help make things easier, like most Wake Tech non-degree classes, if not all, you can register and pay online through our website. So we're going to have a QR code to the website here in just a minute, but you can also just go to waketech.edu. And there's a little search bar at the top. You can type in advanced manufacturing, hit enter, and the first search result should take you to our program page where we have more information listed, links to classes, and separate links that go out to each of the pathways we are going to offer. Some other resources that are available for our program and essentially for most, if not all, non-degree classes at Wake Tech are career services and career coaching. So they have drop-in labs at most campuses. And here we have a listing of the different campuses and the specific rooms where they are doing drop-in labs that are fee waived and the times and availability. So You don't even have to make an appointment. As it says, walk-ins are welcome. So if you want any help with career services, please go to any of the locations you see on the screen during the times they're open, and they will be more than happy to help you out and give you some guidance and direction and support. So I'll leave this up on screen for just a second in case you want to take a photo of it, screenshot it, or jot anything down.
Okay, and we have had some questions as well. The manufacturing are primarily in-person classes, just
Yes,
because they are very hands-on, and therefore you are doing um, stuff in person. So there's not a lot of online for the robotics in manufacturing. If
correct.
you have a high school diploma, you do need a high school diploma to um, register for these classes. If you have a high school diploma from another country, that needs to be evaluated. And you can contact the admissions department on South Campus. That's the one on Fayetteville Road. And they can let you know if your high school diploma works or not. We don't really have that information within our department. But they do have, they are able to help you on South Campus with that. And you can either contact them online or you could go there in person and just bring the credentials you have from your country. Sometimes they do require those credentials to be translated, depending on what the credentials are. You can absolutely sign up for the program if you have a high school equivalency, like a GED or a HiSET, or if you did an online high school diploma like SCORE Academy. All of those are fine. Okay, so you would need to have one of those to sign up for the program. If you're concerned about your English language study or ability, you do need to have a pretty good grasp of the English language to do these classes, just because the language is very technical, and there are a lot of very technical words. So if you're struggling with some of the simpler English words, and then you have those technical words on top of it, and these are very, sort of brief classes, you're not in here for years, that's could be very difficult for you, but we do also have ESL classes at the college. So if you think this is something that you're interested in, but you're not sure about your English, you can contact the ESL department and they can evaluate, how well you're doing in your English. And if you have a question, you can always reach out to us and let us know what that evaluation was, what level of English you're in, if you're taking ESL now, and we can give you more information about when you would be probably ready to register for the classes. Okay? All right, Grayson, back
Yep.
to
And
you.
thank you very much, Via. And yes, just to reiterate, pretty much all these classes are going to be in person at the Beltline Education Center. Again, as Via said, because there's so much hands-on or experiential learning in every class, and that is really the hallmark of our whole program and approach is giving students access to the technology, the equipment, the trainers, the robots, and everything to make them as prepared for employment in the field as possible. So they will all be in person at the Beltline Education Center. So that actually wraps up the majority of information I have for you all. I want to say thank you very, very much for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing everything with you. And here we have some contact information. So at the top, our Advanced Manufacturing and Robotics program, we have a dedicated departmental email address, advmfg@waketech.edu. We also have a dedicated phone line, 919-334-1600. If you have any questions after this evening, or you share this information with anybody you know that has questions, you can either give us a call or send us an email, and we will be happy to assist you. And then again, career services. So careerservices.waketech.edu, or you can just go to waketech.edu and search for career services. Their information will pop up. They have more information on the website, and you can also email them or give them a call if you're not able to make it into any of their walk-in dates and locations that we shared on a previous screen. And then finally, the QR code on the left should link you directly to the Advanced Manufacturing and Robotics website. So we have separate tabs on that web page for all of our different pathways, as well as more information about courses, the content they cover, credentials, everything like that. And also, if you want to take any of the classes when they open for registration, you'll find them linked directly through that website in the QR code, so you can go register and pay for classes there. So again, that's all the information I have for you tonight. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Via, thank you very much for the help. And thank you all again. Hopefully this was helpful and informative, and we look forward to seeing you for classes this fall. Thanks again.
Does anyone have any additional questions that they'd like to ask?
Yeah, any other questions? I'm happy to stick around and help anybody out.
Excuse me, the classes in the day, no, is not possible in the night?
Yes, we will do evening classes at night. They should typically start around 6 p.m. in the evening. We typically run classes between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. in the evening. So yes, anybody that's working during the day or is not available can attend night classes.
And excuse me, other question. I study English Monday to Thursday. Is no problem?
That'll depend on when the classes are offered. If you have English class Monday and Tuesday, and we have a class that's, for example, every Wednesday, then you could possibly take that one, but it would depend on the different classes. So you'd have to look at the class that you were interested in and then compare it to your English schedule.
Yes, and as a general rule of thumb, you are welcome to attend multiple classes at Wake Tech, especially non-degree classes. As long as they do not have a scheduling conflict, you are able to take multiple classes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. How many classes for this program it will be?
So it depends on the particular pathway, because each pathway is oriented towards a different area within advanced manufacturing and robotics. The longest one we have, the automation technician program, if I remember correctly, is going to be 7 classes. And if you were available to take all the classes back to back, you could get through those in approximately a calendar year. Or if you take them at night or you're not available for all sections or all courses back to back, it just would depend on your availability. But we're going to run classes on a rotating basis all year long. We do not follow a semester to semester type schedule, and we will run classes during the summer as well. So we'll be able to offer them in a variety of different schedules and help get students through them as quickly as possible.
Because
But
I'm
within,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
I'm looking for different program like PLC and also robotic and different than one path. So I'm not sure.
So certain classes are going to be a part of multiple different pathways, such as fundamentals of electric circuits and motor controls. That's in 2 or 3 different pathways. But if you're interested in the PLC technician pathway or the robotics technician pathway, those are some of the shorter ones. Like robotics technician is 4 courses, so that one could be completed in, I would say, about 6 to 8 months. And I would say about the same for the PLC technician pathway as well.
Okay, but there is so if I go to the Wake Tech, they will show me all the credit, like all the hours or the classes for all path.
Yes. So if you go to our website, either by following the QR code or searching for the Advanced Manufacturing and Robotics program, it lists out all of our different pathways and the specific courses that are included in each pathway, and it should list the total contact hours there as well.
Okay.
But also, if you want to know any more specifics about an individual pathway or see some schedule examples, you can email us at advmfg@waketech.edu. And I'll be happy to share more information about our schedule, upcoming classes, and things like that as well. I'm the one that monitors that email address, so you'll speak with me directly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we did have a question about career support.
Mhm.
We do have a full career services department at the college that will help you with job search, resume writing, interviewing, negotiating initial salaries. Pretty much everything you need to know is available through career services. We also have job fairs twice a year that are campus-wide job fairs in different areas. Since advanced manufacturing and robotics mechatronics is kind of new, I'm not quite sure what companies might or might not attend those job fairs, but we do have companies reaching out to the college for different positions, and they do post them as well on our Handshake job board. So we have a number of different career supports available to assist you in helping you find a job once you've earned your credential.
It looks like one of the other questions was, when do you make a payment for the course? So payment is due at the time of registration. So you can register directly online through the website. And when you click on the specific course you want, you'll fill out your information. And then the last thing you'll do is enter a credit or debit card to actually pay for the class. And submitting that payment is what finalizes your registration in the course. If you want, I believe you should still also be able to go register in person at any campus that has a student services office. They should be able to directly assist you there as well.
So all the classes started in August.
The majority of our classes are going to start in August. We're going to offer some of the supplemental ones that come later in some of the pathways a little bit later in the fall. So the first round of classes to kind of start the pathways are going to begin in August. And then the next round of classes in each pathway will start about a week or two after the previous one ends. So we'll have classes starting in August. The next round will probably start in, I would say, mid-October. They'll run up into the Christmas holidays, and the next ones will start in January. And then starting in January, we will also restart the first classes in every pathway to start offering them anew to help students out and get started in those classes then. So again, we're going to offer them on a year-round rolling basis every year.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so if for some reason you're not able to start in August, you do have, it's not like if you don't start in August, you have to wait an entire year before you can take another class. Yes, and if you are in the ESL program, you still would have to pay for tuition, just like everyone else. We are not part of the ESL program, and we do not have bridge funds from ESL.
Are there any other questions, or does anyone need any additional details?
For me, it's good. Thank you.
We're very happy to help, and we're glad you could make it tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Thanks again, everyone. That concludes our presentation. So feel free to either drop off or join another information session if you're interested. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us directly, and we'll be happy to assist you after tonight. So thanks again.
Everybody have a great evening.
Thanks, Via.
See you. See you.